In 2011, the New Zealand government declared the goal of achieving a smoke-free nation by 2025. The overarching aim is to reduce the percentage of smokers in New Zealand to fewer than 5% in 2025. This intends to be accomplished through active protection for children against exposure to tobacco advertising, the reduction of the supply and demand for tobacco, and lastly, providing effective support for quitting. The government has implemented various policies to discourage smoking in order to set these points in motion. One such policy is the Customs and Excise Amendment Bill in relation to tobacco products. The details of this policy demonstrate the initiative to raise tobacco tax by 10% annually between 2013 and 2016. According to the budget of 2016, the basis of this policy will continue from 2017 to 2020, where tax will continue to rise by 10% per annum. The logic behind this policy is that the constant tax increases will drive up the retail price of cigarettes. In fact, by 2020, the cost of a pack of cigarettes will increase to between $27 to $30. This will therefore make it less affordable to purchase cigarettes, and thus triggering quitting and preventing uptake among citizens. The government hopes this will reduce the number of smokers and tobacco users in New Zealand, allowing the country to move towards a smoke-free state where overall health problems relating to smoking will decrease.
A budget constraint represents all the possible combinations of goods and services a consumer can purchase, given the current prices for the goods and services and the consumer's given income. A change in prices or income will alter the budget constraint. As of January 2018, another 10% increase to the tax on cigarettes was put into place by the government as part of its plan to make New Zealand a smoke-free nation by 2025. Last year, a 20-pack of cigarettes cost on average $23.40, while now, as of January, an average 20-pack will cost consumers $20.45. Based on this new price, smoking a pack a day will cost the consumer approximately $192 per week, or $10,000 per annum. This is an additional cost of $1,483 to the consumer each year, compared to 2017 prices. As mentioned, the change in the price of goods will alter a consumer's consumption set if the income has not changed accordingly to match the change in price. Based on consumer choice theory, there are three ways consumers can react to this increase in cigarette prices. Consumers can either quit smoking and therefore spend all the money previously spent on cigarettes and other goods and services, or consumers could buy less cigarettes so they do not spend the additional cost on cigarette packs, or lastly, consumers could continue to buy the same amount of cigarettes at the new price and as a result purchase less of all other goods and services. First, we will consider the scenario in which the consumer quits smoking as a result of the tax increase. In this instance, if the consumers were to no longer purchase an average 20-pack per day at $25.45, the consumer could instead purchase an additional $25.45 of other goods and services, such as groceries or petrol. That is only one example of what the money saved from removing cigarette consumption from the budget set can be used for. Similarly, a $10,000 a year saving could be put towards mortgage payments, a family holiday, a new car, or health insurance for the whole family. Alternatively, the consumer may choose to continue smoking despite the tax increase. This would mean the consumer would need to make up this additional cost by consuming less of other goods and services. A study by the University of Otago on tobacco tax increases and smoking rates found that because of the severity of tobacco addiction, increases in tobacco prices will have a very small effect on reduced cigarette consumption by smokers. This means that unless smokers quit, a tobacco price increase will increase household spending on cigarettes and thereby reduce the household budget for other goods and services such as healthcare, petrol, food, and other basic necessities. This will increase the consumption bundle for cigarettes and decrease for all other goods and services. We will now give an example of how a change in the price of one good will alter a consumer's optimal consumption bundle if their income has not changed. We have an income of $100, X1 representing cigarettes and X2 representing groceries. The price of X1 has gone up from $23.40 to $25.45, while the price of X2 remains the same at $10. At the original price, the consumer could buy 4 packs of cigarettes, while at the new price of X1 being $25.45, the consumer can now only buy 3 packs of cigarettes. The price of X2 being groceries remains the same at $10, meaning the consumer can purchase 10 goods of groceries with their budget of $100. The slope for our graph at an income of $100 and the price of X1 at $25.45 means the slope is minus P1 over P2 being negative 25.45 over 10, giving a slope of negative 2.5. We will now represent how the change in price of cigarettes alters the consumer's optimal consumption bundle on a graph. On the y-axis, we have X2, which is groceries, and X1, which is cigarettes. At the original price of cigarettes of $23.40, the consumer could buy 4 packs of cigarettes with their budget of $100, or 10 groceries. However, now at the new price of cigarettes, the consumer can either spend all their income and buy 3 packs of cigarettes, or can spend all the income and still buy 10 goods of groceries. On the indifference curve, if the consumer were to purchase 1 less pack of cigarettes at this new price of $25.45, the consumer could purchase 2.5 more goods of groceries. A quick correction, it is not the budget constraint line, but the budget line on the example on the whiteboard. So on this graph, we can see that with the price change of cigarettes, the consumer's optimal consumption bundle has changed from 4 packs of cigarettes at the original price of $23.40 to now 3 packs of cigarettes at the new price of $25.45. However, if the consumer were to give up 1 pack of cigarettes at this new price of $25.45, the consumer could instead gain 2.5 more goods of groceries. So if the consumer were to quit smoking altogether, with this tax increase in cigarette prices, they could buy a lot more other goods and services.
Behavioral economics is the analysis of decision-making through psychological insight and differs from the conventional methods of economics, which restrict individuals as rational beings. As discussed in class, this sub-area of economics acknowledges how slight differences in an individual's environment can have impacts upon their behaviour. The New Zealand government is currently undergoing efforts to make the nation smoke-free by 2025. While conventional economic methods have been introduced and built upon, such as an increase in tobacco tax, there are other ways that can influence people to quit smoking that fall under the branch of behavioural economics. One such tool that could be used to create a new policy is framing. In class, we discussed how framing effects refer to how people can react differently to the same trade-off depending if the available outcomes are presented as gains or losses. For example, if a problem is presented as 80% chance of living versus 20% chance of death. In a public health domain, messages targeting prevention activities, such as quitting smoking, are reported to be more effective when framed as a gain. That is, when the message highlighted how the recipient could benefit from quitting smoking rather than what the consequences of not quitting would be. Based off of these findings, in creating a new anti-smoking policy, we would introduce a form of gained frame messaging to target buyers of cigarettes. Currently, cigarette packaging is primarily covered with loss-framed messages, indicating the consequences of smoking, for example, how it causes cancer, blindness, or heart failure. In contrast, we would introduce positive messages that advertise the benefits of quitting. This would ideally be presented with a fact such as long-term smokers will die an average of 10 to 15 years early because of smoking. This negative message will be offset with positive imagery of a family doing some kind of healthy activity such as hiking. To enhance this visual, a slogan could be added. We made a slogan called "Stub it out and stick around." There are various subgroups within the smoking community, of which consist of women, men, young adults, elderly, European, Pacific, Māori, or Asian people, for example. This means that the one method will have differing effects on each subgroup. It would be difficult to measure the effects of each individual subgroup, but we know that in cases of healthcare initiated by preventative behaviour, positive framing works the best. Conversely, those requiring healthcare uptake, such as mammograms, respond better to negative framing effects. Therefore, subgroups respond differently depending on their own disposition and the situation they are in.